I just want to give a quick thought. Just as I was going to bed, I don't know, I keep seeing it, and it's an article from Victoria Ward, and I don't know anything about her, and I'm not even going to look her up because it's late. But this whole notion that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex believe the Queen failed to take full ownership of race allegations made in their interview with Oprah Winfrey, according to the author of the unauthorized biography Finding Freedom. Of course, that author would be Omid Scobie. And this is one of the reasons why some people don't trust Omid Scobie, is because I believe the book was published by HarperCollins, which of course is from the dark side. And let's face it, he's a reporter. So I don't distrust Omid Scobie. And of course, I don't know him personally. But in this article, this notion that the Queen did not take full accountability for the racism allegations, and therefore Harry was unable to really move on with his life. Well, that sounds it sounds like it could be true, but then at the same time, Harry has moved on with his life. And this whole thing about, Harry left his life behind, Harry's no longer with his family, and he gave up so much. And so all of this hand-wringing and hemming and hawing about what Harry has given up. And when they first moved to California, the whole Meghan is getting everything she wants and Harry is losing everything. But none of those people, I guarantee you, none of those people that wrote those meaningless words, those inaccurate, meaningless words, nobody who wrote those words would want that life. They may think they want it, but they don't want that life because it definitely damages a person. So why would you want that? Of course you want the attention when the attention is given under your terms, in the way that you feel comfortable with. Or for the least bit to say this, when it's fair. It doesn't even have to go your way, it just has to be fair. And that's what Meghan said. I didn't think that it would be easy, but I at least thought it would be fair. And that's not too much to ask. That's a basic human right, is to have fairness, to have equal protection under the law. And if you're living in a family like the Windsors, you want equal protection under the roof. Wherever you are with that family, wherever you go, you should always be treated as an equal. Yes, that whole ranking system and such, that doesn't mean that that excludes you from the protection from the press, from malicious people within the institution that may try to destroy you just to make someone else in the family look better. You should be protected from that. This model has not worked for a long time, if ever it worked. And the Queen, being the head of this institution, the head of the family, seems very comfortable to keep doing things in this most illogical, ridiculous manner to ensure that the names and the titles and the crowns go on. But at what cost? It leaves everyone destroyed in its wake. I heard a reporter say, well, I just love that lady. I love the Queen because she's been on the throne all these years and I just don't know anything about how she feels about anything, and I don't know any. And that's okay. This woman is 95 years old. She's the head of the church, but you don't go to her for prayer. She's the head of the armed forces, but you don't want her to wage a nuclear war. So she's got all of these titles, including the wealthiest woman in the land and probably the largest landowner in the country. And probably got some of the biggest accounts offshore. I had to throw that in there. But you get my point. It's just so ridiculous, this whole thing about Harry was unable to move on and the Queen not taking ownership. Of course she's not taking ownership. The reason why I find this so hard to believe, even though I like Omid Scobie a lot, if these are his words, I don't know how they put this together, but I like Omid a lot. But I also am not blind to things that are right in front of me. And this doesn't pass the smell test. I'm just saying, as an outside observer, someone safely ensconced in my home, that I don't believe this. I think that this has a hole in it so big you can drive a truck through it. Now, I'm not going to just flat out and say I think that Omid's got something wrong, because I keep reading this and I'm trying to figure out, and of course this is only a portion of the article, it's not the complete article. Where does this information come from? Where does these thoughts come from? And if this was leaked in some kind of way, I find it hard to believe it was leaked from Montecito, California. This doesn't say, I don't think the Sussexes play this game. I don't think the Sussexes have left all of the espionage and, I guess, palace intrigue only so they can come over here and start using the same techniques. I think that that's beneath them. So I don't know if this is accurate. I do believe that the service is universal was a slap in the face. I also believe that recollections may vary is another slap in the face. And I think that the Sussexes decided to respond in kind, and they set the record straight, and that's all to it. For months, we were inundated with the Queen is 94, Philip's in the hospital, the Queen is 95, Philip just died. And this even continues now. But now that 250 pounds of hunkin' loving machine, son of hers, is in trouble, now you don't hear it. Now there's no mention of the Queen's age and how much damage this is doing to this frail woman who, you know what, I'm not even going to go there. I'll let Netflix and The Crown explain why I think the Queen is a lot tougher than anybody gives her credit for. I mean, after all, she managed to go to that G7 summit wielding the saber, swinging that sword over her head and chopping into cakes and running around chasing Joe Biden. So, and then after doing all that running around at 95 years old, she managed to hightail it down the highway. And get back to Windsor Castle, where she made a quick costume change and went from one frumpy matronly outfit into another so that she could greet the Bidens there for lunch at the taxpayers' expense. So I don't really want to go there, but trust me when I say this, that very frail woman is likely to get another 10 years out of that body. And it will be 10 very vigorous years at the taxpayers' expense. She's okay. I mean, for someone who's 95 and Philip just died, she was yucking it up with the best of them at that G7 summit. As a matter of fact, I haven't seen her smile this much since she won the pool at Royal Ascot. You ever see that video when she found out she won some money? That was the most animated I've ever seen her. She was just so full of energy with a zest for life. And the only other time I've seen her like kicking up her heels like that is when, Philip had his passing. I was going to say unfortunate, but no, he was 99. but that's the only time that I've ever seen her so animated. So, you guys, they have weaponized this woman's age, and for someone who is supposedly in such bad condition, she gets out more than anybody I know. I mean, she's hopping. She actually does more work than the Cambridges. And dare I say, nowadays, you know, Catherine the Great has that little tick where she can't stop smiling. That tick must be contagious, because every time I look around, the Queen is just grinning from ear to ear. So she's okay. She's okay. She's a tough old bird, and she's going to get through all of this stuff with her son just fine. She's lived through the war. Don't forget, she was a mechanic. Yeah, she's going to be okay. And she's lived through some things with Philip that I just read that The Crown is going to feature. Now, if that doesn't take the grin off her face, nothing will. So all I'm saying is just wait for The Crown, and we'll find out how tough Lizzie is. And I hate to sound like that, but I'm just actually kind of sick of them weaponizing her age, because I just don't think it's fair. Harry should not have to wait to tell his story. He shouldn't have to wait to live his life. If it was up to them, Harry would have stayed in the UK and suffered through the abuse of his brother and his mean girl wife and all the courtiers. You know, the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. Any man who would put his employees ahead of his brother and his sister-in-law is not much of a man as far as I'm concerned. I mean, if you really are the next or future leader of that country, you should try to work it out. Find a solution. What good are you if you couldn't have fixed that situation? But no, instead he menaces everyone at Kensington Palace, and we're all supposed to cringe in a corner when he becomes incandescent with rage. I swear I hate a bully, and this was supposed to be a 5-minute video.